You finally took the leap. You finally started your influencer marketing. You went out there, you contacted influencers, you sent a lot of messages, you have your eye on some people you want to work with, and sadly, no one's answering. If this is you right now, in this video, I'm gonna give you a few tips and tricks and techniques and approaches that I've learned really work in my almost 10 years experience in this field. So let's get to it. The first thing you have to keep in mind, and this is probably best to do before you start outreaching, but it can also happen during outreach, especially if you're just starting out, if you don't have a lot of ideas, a lot of knowledge about how influencer marketing works, is you need to check if those people are actually a good fit. A lot of times when people are contacting, creators, they have a tendency to go by personal preference and not necessarily brand fit. It happens. Like it happens to me as well. When I, look for influencers, I find some people and I'm like, oh, these are really cool. They might work even though the fit is not there, but I just love that person. So I really want to contact them. And a lot of times it's, the creator also sees kind of like that there's a misalignment and they do not reply, or their brand or their manager sees that and they again are thinking, why are these people contacting us? Right? So to give an example, it could be like a very, a high fashion influencer that is being contacted by, I don't know, a toothpaste brand, and they're like, oh, I mean it could work. Technically I could promote toothpaste, but it's not 100% alignment, and that's what you want. So go back into your list, the ones that you contacted, do a double check, and be unforgiving. Cut them down. Anyone who doesn't seem like a good, really good fit for your brand. Next, and this is a little bit of a no-brainer, but it's also very easy to get wrong. Personalize. So obviously when you're contacting people, the best way to do would be to personalize the message. So not just go, into someone random inbox and be like, hi, it's me. What I've seen a lot of people do in influencer marketing is they send an email and they start talking about the brand. We're this brand and we do this and we love this and we want you to do this and we want to blah blah we, and it's boring. It's uninteresting, unengaging. If I were to receive an email like that, and I've certainly received my share of sales emails like that, I would be like, I just, what? Stop talking about yourself. I don't know you. Who are you? This, it's a genuine reaction. So what I do is I actually, even when you're sending it at scale, you can still add a layer of personalization. So let's say you have the body of your template, keep it short, keep it to the point. You want to say, hey, we're this brand, we want to work with you, blah blah, we're doing this, here are some details about the collaboration. I would suggest keeping it light on the details when you first go into the outreach. Just say what the brand is, say why you want to connect with that person. And in the beginning, I add maybe like a sentence or two that are very personal. And what I do when I do that is I actually go on the person's social media and I look at what is it that they like, what is it that they're talking about, what is it that they're interacting with, who is that person? Right, that human being that I'm trying to reach out to, and just add that kind of line of personalization in the very beginning of your email. So you can do this even at scale. So if you have like 100 people that you need to contact and you want to maximize your chances of them opening your email and answering to it, you can do that. You can do it either in an email software, or you can just create like a spreadsheet. You can use email merge, which is a very good, I'll link it down below so you can check it out. It's a really awesome tool that I've used for years, which kind of helps you personalize at scale and introduce kind of like that nice personal touch. And you can just do it you block 2-3 hours out of your day and you do that personalization, and then you send 100 emails that are not, just a template. That kind of have like a human touch, like a nice little thing. And trust me, that's it's gonna make a huge difference. The next tip I want to give you is be consistent. I see this so much. I do not understand how, but I see people, they just go in and like, oh my God, yeah, I contacted like 50 people, yeah. And then they don't send an email for another 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, they send another email, which is very general and very bland and very boring. And they're like, no one's answering me. No one wants me. What should I do? You got to be consistent, right? You got to be consistent not only in your communication, so not only in the pace of your communication, but also in the energy that you're showing. So set up a schedule. Use, if you're using an email tool to do it, set up a like a sequence, or use the tool itself. Most emailing tools, especially at scale, they do have this kind of like follow-up thing to them. Very professional follow-up. It's a follow-up thing. It's like, I'm a professional. I'm a professional, and there's a follow-up thingy. In the email, there's yes. So if you're, or maybe you're using a CRM and you use statuses to know, like, okay, this is the status that this person has, and that's how you keep track of your contact list. Or you simply use, even Gmail has the little thing where it's like, hey, you haven't responded, you haven't contacted this person in like 7 days, do you want to do something about it? So whatever you do, keep on top of your emailing list, because in my experience, what I've noticed is that it takes an average of 3 emails to get someone to answer. People are busy, right? People are like, they don't have time. Obviously, on the personalization note, do not send the same message over and over again. I see this a lot, even in my teams, when I manage teams of people, of influencer marketing specialists. This drives me crazy. It's like a sure way to get the monster in me out when I see people sending like one-liner emails and the same email over and over and over again, right? The same template over and over again. Hi dear, did you see this? Thank you. Hi dear, did you see this? Thank you. Hi dear, did you see? Don't do that. That's so bad. Another way to kind of get people to engage, and this is obviously also very much based on your open rate. So I would suggest, if you're using some kind of tool, even Gmail Merge has it, just look at the open rates and see if people are actually opening your emails. So if they're not opening your emails, it might have something to do with the way you craft your subject lines. Maybe you have bad contacts, or maybe you have a deliverability issue that you need to check out, right? So when you see people opening your emails and you're like, oh, but they open, why didn't they answer? It's fine. Think about how many emails you open on a regular basis and not answer to, or not get to right away, and then they maybe like slip through the cracks, or maybe they're just not engaging enough. They're like, I don't understand. Should I respond to this? Is there like, are you asking me to take an action with this? I'm not sure. So when you do the follow-up, try to ask relevant and engaging questions, not like, what do you think about this, or very general questions, but ask questions that are relevant to that specific person. For example, a question I use in my emails all the time is, do you think your audience would enjoy this product or service? Have you ever recommended this type of product service to them? Do you think they would find it useful? Something like that. That's just one example, right? Or you can ask them a personal question about them and say, what do you think about this campaign idea? Or do you have maybe any ideas on how to frame this or approach this with your audience? Do you think that this is a good fit? Right? So try to ask questions. This is another one that a lot of people don't think about it right away, but it has an impact on your response rate. Is the person you're trying to contact in your league? Because a lot of times I do see small businesses trying to reach to, really big influencers, especially if they don't really know how the industry works. They're like, oh wow, yeah, we Charlie D'Amelio, yeah, we want to work with her. You see, it's kind of like, you're not on the same level, you're not yet in that league. So if you send an email to that person, their manager might kind of follow up with you and say, hey, or what is your budget, and they're gonna give you probably 5-6 figures in fees, or they're just gonna be like, yeah, I don't think so. Obviously, always exceptions to this rule, but as much as possible, try to start at your level. So if you are a small business, if even if you're a startup, or you might have been around for a while but you've never done influencer marketing, best to start maybe at nano or micro level and kind of work your way up. See, okay, how does this work, and then work your way up to a different level, because the complexity when it comes to contracts, when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to negotiating, setting up a campaign, deadlines, and all that is different when it comes to a nano influencer versus to someone who's at, Emma Chamberlain level. Okay, so if you did all this and the creator is still not replying, first thing you need to do is, if you send anywhere between like 5 to 7 emails, you need to stop. Okay, you need to stop and maybe come back at a later time. Also, take the open rate into consideration. So if you see that they opened your emails and they opened all of the emails but they're not responding, maybe it's not a good time, maybe they're not interested, maybe just put it on hold and maybe come back in a couple months and see if something changed. If they're not opening any of your emails, or maybe if they open like the first one and then never opened an email again, that's, again, you can't really say what happened, but I wouldn't insist. Just put it on hold, maybe come back after a couple months, have someone else from your team, if you have a team with multiple influencer marketing managers, have someone else contact it, just like swap contacts a little bit. That's something that we used to do a lot. So if you did all this and they're still not applying, keep in mind, it might be that they're not interested in your product or brand. They're just not. They just don't fit the fit. They might have other commitments and they might have a full calendar and they simply do not have the bandwidth to take you on. They might have life situations you're not aware of. So again, influencers, content creators, they're people. Life happens to all of us. They might have simply missed or forgotten to answer your message. Again, correlate that with the open rates and see what happens. Their agent manager saw your email and decided you're not a good fit for their talent, and just basically like anything else you can think of. Do not take it personal if people are not responding to your emails, but use these tips and tricks to kind of go back and adjust and pivot and really, have a hands-on approach on optimizing this process. And also understand that this is something that takes time. Influencer marketing is all about relationship building. Put the effort that you would put if you want to build a relationship with someone from the beginning. Don't just half-ass it and be like, oh yeah, sure, we're gonna send like we're gonna contact 3,000 people and send the same template and we'll just like see what happens. Don't do that, right? Try to do it the right way from the beginning, because it is going to be off, I can assure you. Okay, these are all my tips and tricks. If you maybe think about something else that I didn't cover, leave it down in the comments below. You can also leave questions in the comments below and I'll check them out, and maybe, who knows, maybe I'll create majestic content about them. And if you like this video and you found it useful, click that subscribe button, because I will be creating a lot more. And I will see you next time. I'm also linking a free resource that I've created down below in the comments. It's free. It's a guide that I've created for people who want to do outreach. It includes examples of templates and how to create like a personalized approach, and do's and don'ts, even more do's and don'ts than I put in this video. So check it out. It's down below. Thank you.